Welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time I'm going to be doing the second mission from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shadows of the Past. The first mission we did here on my channel had some wonky card draws and things. Wasn't too pleased with how it went, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to do the second mission here, which has some added elements to it. And I'm not going to explain the rules per se because that was all done in the first episode, but I will go over the changes and added things that are going to be happening for the second mission, and we will look at the second mission as well. So one of the things that's added in the second mission is we have some new terrain, covered terrain. It says figures in covered terrain gain defend +1. In addition, they are considered to be one extra space away when attacked with ranged strikes. Now you can spend 2 of your skateboard movements to take cover. It's a terrain move. It says while in or adjacent to a space of covered terrain, use this action to take cover. Until you leave the space you're currently in, you gain defend +2. This can stack with a +1 bonus from being in covered terrain. So if you're inside covered terrain, you spend 2 movement, you'll actually get +3 defense. So that's a pretty powerful defense. We also now have something else new. So this is covered terrain here beside the building, as well as the garbage cans here. But the garbage cans also have another feature, and it's throwing objects. Manhole covers and trash cans may be thrown. Open manhole covers have no game effect unless the battle scenario's special rules say otherwise. So if there's an open manhole cover on the board, unless the scenario specifies, it really doesn't do much. So we have thrown object. You spend a katana of 1 or more katanas is what the symbol here. And it's a terrain move. While adjacent to or on the same space as an object that can be thrown, make a ranged strike as normal, except that katanas may be spent as though they were shurikens for the strike. Then remove the thrown object from the map. It is destroyed. So we can pick up a garbage can and we can throw it like a shuriken. We've gone over in the last episode, slow terrain, elevated terrain for climbing. You can climb down without taking damage. So that's it for the added terrain effects for the game. Let's now take a look at, we do now have an evil hero or villain or whatever you want to call him. I'm not a super Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan with all of the lore in my back pocket, so you'll have to pardon my just kind of showing you the stuff and without having all kinds of backstory for it. So we have Old Hob here. He is actually right here on the map, and we'll see how the scenario plays out, but I'll show you his cards right now. He's cunning, which means allied minions within 3 spaces of Old Hob roll +1 die each time they roll dice. So that's going to be for attacks and defense, so that's a pretty powerful boost that he's going to be giving to the minions. And the minions we have, of course, are Thug Gunners and Thug Brawlers. So he's a leader, as you can see. He has movement 3, attack 1, defend 3, and 11 life. So the object of our scenario here is to knock out Hob. All right, we'll quickly look at the Street Thug Gunner. And we've seen him in the last playthrough. Street Thug Gunners' ranged strikes do not weaken for the first 4 spaces, nor for our Ninja Turtles, that would be after 2 spaces. They take a damage penalty. These guys don't take a damage penalty for shooting until the 5th space away. So they have 3 move, 1 attack, 2 defend, and only 1 life. So we hit them once, they are done, knocked out for the fight. We also have the Street Thug Brawler making a return. Sure-footed Street Thug Brawlers ignore slow and rough terrain, so they just motor through it like it's not there. Slow terrain costs 2 to move, 2 movement to move into. Rough terrain is supposed to stop your movement completely. These guys just ignore it. They have 3 move, 1 attack, 2 defend, and 3 life each, so they're a little bit tougher than the Street Thug Gunner, so you have to give them 3 damage to take them out. Those are our enemies that are going to be on the board. And what else do I need to say about the enemies? Not too much. We do also have something that's going to be taking place in this game now called spawning. And the spawn points are these 2 points right here in between our turtles and the other 2 on this side of the board. How spawning works is any figures that got knocked out. We're going to have 5 brawlers, 5 gunners. There's only 4 and 4 on the board right now. You take half of each of the groups and you round up, and that's how many will spawn onto the board. Obviously, we can only have 1, 2, 3, 4 because there's only 4 spawn points. So with that, why don't we just take a look at the scenario book, and we'll kind of explain everything. So here we are. We're at the second scenario. So this is the setup. We'll get to that, which I've basically shown you. So we are going battle number 2 back to the source. So after questioning the thugs they captured, the turtles head to the gang's hideout only to find another mutant Old Hob is leading the gang. So special rules, there are none. Strengths, hero skill mods -1. So it means they get special moves. They take their skill value -1. That's how many special moves they have available to them for this fight. And the villain starts with 3 focus. And each of our turtles starts with the focus that's listed on their card. We'll see that here in a second. So the objectives. The hero objective. The heroes win if Old Hob gains a KO condition. So we basically have to do 11 points of damage to Old Hob to win a scenario. The villain objective is the villain wins if any one hero gains a KO token. So if any one of our turtles gets knocked out, the villains win. And then you have winning conditions. And so if the heroes win, if the villains win, and they tell you which terrain cards. So once again, taking a look here, we're going to have, of course, Old Hob, and we're using his decks, his brown and blue deck. We have 5 of the thug brawlers. We're going to use green and blue decks, and we're using the thug gunners, brown and blue decks. So that's our deck of villain cards, and here we can see the hero start spaces 1, 2, 3, 4, and the spawn zones, as I mentioned, here and here. And they show you how to set up the terrain and everything. So this is the second battle. The idea is we're trying to beat up Old Hob, get the information out of him that we need. And so with that, of course, we have a deck of 25 cards for the villains. They get a starting hand of 5 cards. We saw how this operated in the first playthrough, so I won't go through that. And so lots left for setup for our introductory episode is we're going to take a look at our turtles. We're going to roll their dice. They're going to set their dice up. And then in the next episode, we will get into the actual battle and how turns happen in the game is one turtle gets to go of any of our choice, and then the thugs go. And then turtle goes, thugs go, turtle go, thug go, until all 4 of our turtles have gone, and the villain player has had 4 turns. That will then trigger the end of the round, and at the end of the round, spawning happens for the villains. All right, let's go take a look at each turtle. We're going to roll their dice, and that will be set up and introduction for Battle 2 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shadows of the Past. All right, so I'll kind of zoom down on each turtle. We have Leonardo. They each have special abilities. I'm using dice to indicate their hit points. I just find it easier when filming to be able to manipulate than a bunch of tokens. So there are pizza tokens that deal with hit points, but I will be using a 12-sided die for, at least for Leonardo. He's got 3 green dice to roll. And so I think I'm going to do what I did in the beginning of the first playthrough. I'm just going to take all the dice for everybody, roll them all at once, and then get them laid out. But what we do need to look at is Leonardo has a skill of 4, and in this scenario it's 4 minus 1 gives him special moves. So he's able to take 3 special moves with him into this battle. So let's take a look at his 3 special moves. Right after we look at his leader ability, it says after dice are rolled and any re-rolls are made based on chi symbols, is how you re-roll them, Leo may trade 1 action die belonging to any hero with an action die belonging to another hero excuse me, until the end of the round. So he's able to manipulate some dice if we want to do that. So that's his special ability, and he starts with 3 focus. Focus are used for re-rolling dice. Okay, let's take a look at his special cards. So I've chosen for him Probing Attack. While this card is active, Leo may re-roll his battle dice for free once per melee strike. Now we can only play 1 of these per round. So when he gets to go, he can't play all 3 of these cards or 2 of them. He's only allowed to play 1. He also has Double Slash, which is Leo makes an attack +4, +1 die per extra katana spent melee strike. So he needs to use a focus token. and 2 katanas at minimum to be able to do this ability. He can add extra katanas to do extra dice rolling for the attack. He has Leaping Strike. Leo leaps up to 3 spaces in a straight line. Then he may make an attack +2 melee strike. That costs 2 katanas to do this move. Leaping figures don't have to break away. Ignore slow, rough terrain and may pass through but not land on other figures. So that's a pretty cool ability. That's the 3 abilities I've chosen for Leonardo for this fight. All right, let's take a look at Donatello, and then Michelangelo, and then Raphael. Roll the dice, set them up, and that will be the end of the episode, which will probably take All right, so I'm zoomed out a little bit because when I pick up the cards and try to get them in focus in the camera, it may or may not focus properly. So I apologize for that. Can't really zoom in and do the card reading at the same time. But anyway, Donatello has 11 hit points. I'm using a die again. He has 4 focus. His special ability is he's smart. It says the end of each round. So a round is when all turtles have gone and villains have gone 4 times. Donnie may either regain 1 focus or give 1 of his focus to another hero of his choice, not to exceed the hero's maximum focus. He's got 3 dice he's going to be rolling, and he has a skill of 3, and in this battle it's 3 minus 1, so he has 2 special moves that he can perform, and I hope this is going to focus. If not, I apologize. So he's going to have Guard, costing 2 katanas. While this card is active, Donnie receives Defend +1, and each time an enemy enters a space adjacent to Donnie, Donnie immediately makes an attack +2 melee strike against that enemy. Very powerful. I like it. And he has Pole Kick, which costs a move and 1 katana. Donnie leaps up to 3 spaces in a straight line, makes an attack +3, +1 die per extra skateboard spent melee strike. Leaping figures don't have to break away, ignore slow, rough terrain, and may pass through but not land on other figures. So that's his 2 special abilities he has available to him for this battle. Up next, we're going to take a look at Michelangelo. All right, Michelangelo. He has 12 hit points, again using a die. He has 2 focus only, 3 dice he will be rolling for his actions for the round. And he has 2 special cards because he has skill 3 minus 1, 2. I've chosen for him Coming Through, costing 1 focus token. Mikey swaps places with a figure adjacent to him, then he makes an attack +2 melee strike against the figure if it's an enemy. So he can swap places and attack at the same time. Pretty cool. And he has Double Chuck, which costs 1 katana. Mikey makes an attack +1, +1 die on each attack per extra katana spent melee strike. So if he spends 1 katana, he can make a +1 attack. 2 +1 attacks. If he spends more than 1 katana, he can just keep adding dice to the double attack. So pretty cool. That's his 2 special moves he has for this battle. Last up, Raphael. So last up we have Raphael. He's alone. Oh, and I didn't go over Michelangelo's special ability. It has Nimble. It says once per turn, Mikey may move 1 space for free, ignoring terrain and breakaway rules. Also, terrain moves cost Mikey 1 less icon of your choice to use. So sorry about that, forgot it. You can go ahead and read it off of his card. We have here Raphael. His special ability is Raph has 6 action dice instead of 3. However, he cannot share other heroes' action dice, but other heroes may share his dice. So he basically just has a pool of 6 dice. He cannot cherry pick off the other adjacent heroes and use their dice. He's got a focus of 3, so we give him 3 focus tokens, 13 hit points, so he's a little bit tougher, and he only has a skill of 2 minus 1, so he's going to get 1 special card for this playthrough, and we're going to give him Hurl Sai, which is his weapon of choice. Use only when there are no enemies adjacent to Ralph. Ralph makes an attack +3 range strike that does not weaken for the first 4 spaces. It costs him a 2 katana symbol to do it. So there you go. That's his special that he can use. So that's basically all the turtles. I'm going to get the dice tray out. We're going to throw all of the turtles' dice in it. I'm going to roll them up. Then I'm going to place all the dice down here in the center. And I believe, because of timing issues, that's going to be the introduction and setup. And so the next episode that comes up tomorrow will be the beginning of the playthrough, the beginning of the battle. Again, we're trying to knock out Old Hob, And Old Hob and his gang of thugs is trying to knock out at least one of the turtles. So let's get to rolling some dice. All right, so I have the dice tray, or the dice tower out here. I have all the dice from all the turtles. I don't know if they're going to jam up in this thing. We're going to give it a go. Maybe I'll do a few at a time here. And we'll get rolling all the dice. Oh, they do seem to go through. And I guess there we go. So I will probably try to use the dice tower during the playthrough. So we have a whole pile of dice here. You can see what's happening. I guess we'll kind of do them here. All of the red. I get the red and orange a little bit messed up. There's the 6 dice for Raphael. Whoops, did I just flip that over? I think I did. 3 dice for that is Michelangelo, and the purple Donatello, and the blue for Leonardo. So those are our dice. I'm going to get them arranged. What we can do with a chi means we can heal 1 die worth of damage. Nobody's damaged. We can also regain 1 focus, but everyone's at their max focus for Raphael. So that's not going to help him, but this die can be set to anything we want. And because there's really nobody has any movement, he's going to set that die to movement. So we've got a pretty strange setup here. Nobody can move except for this 1 move die. So I'm going to arrange the dice now with the turtles. We'll take a look at that, and that will be the introduction. And of course, as I took away Raphael's dice and laid them out, I'm noticing here that Michelangelo has 2 chi symbols here. And so he will also set one of them to a double move, and he'll set the other one to a double move. So he's able to share dice with at least Donatello to give him some extra movement, and maybe we don't want to have 2 double moves. I think maybe, oh boy, I think maybe we're going to give him 1 extra defense, because I'm sure the thugs are going to get a few shots at us before it happens. All right, I'm going to go lay out the rest of the dice. Sorry about that. And we'll get things set. All right, so I've arranged the dice the way I think it's going to be the most helpful for our heroes. And of course, these cards should remain face down, their special abilities, until they activate them on their turn. So I will do that so I don't get things too messed up. So they're all face down. All right. What do we have here? So we have Raphael's dice. Now he can't use the dice from either turtle on either side of him. So he's got 1 movement, a katana, a shuriken, and 2 shells for defense as I knock his hit points over. And on Leonardo, he's going to be able to share, so he's going to be able to use the movement and the turtle shell on the other side of him here. He's got 2 shurikens for ranged attack, katana for melee. He'll be able to use the 1 movement, and he has another katana and a defense there, so that's okay. Donatello has 1 ranged attack, 2 defense, and 2 katanas. He can use the double move on this side and the other shuriken here. And lastly, Michelangelo has 2 double move, a defense, and he'll be able to use this turtle shell, katana, and the shuriken over here, so a couple of range. So again, when we get to the next episode, which will be the start of the battle, we'll have to pick which turtle goes first, use his dice appropriately, and see how quickly, or if we can, take down Old Hob. So let's go back to the main board, have another last look at that, and we'll wrap up for the intro and setup. All right, so to wrap up our intro and setup, let's just figure out where I've placed the turtles so we know what's going on. Raphael is right here with the psi weapons he's got. We have Leonardo here with his double katanas. We have next Donatello is right here, and lastly Michelangelo is there. So each of these turtle figures in the game is different, and you can tell by their pictures on their player boards. For instance, Michelangelo's got the nunchucks, and if you look at the little figure here, then indeed he's got a couple of nunchucks, so we can tell them apart. Other than that, they're all green, so I will have to pay careful attention to what's going on. Thugs are a little bit easier to tell out. The bruiser guys are just sort of got their fists balled up. The shooters, of course, have the guns out in front of them. And Hob is a special looking figure with a big cat tail on him, so he's kind of unique and easy to see. So we shouldn't get those guys messed up. Alright, that is it for the setup and introduction for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. We're doing battle number 2. I believe it actually has a name. The battle number 2 is called Back to the Source. So thanks for watching along. Thanks for your comments, your subscriptions, your likes. Really appreciate it. Let's hope I have a little bit better playthrough this time. We'll get some more normal card draws and dice rolls, so things won't be a bit as skewed as they were in the first playthrough. So once again, thanks so much for watching along, and we'll see you next time in episode 1 where the battle will commence.